welcome to AMBIS. Becoming an entrepreneur is a lot of work, just like being a mom. Both indeed are full-time commitments that demands a whole lot of patience, perseverance and love. Now, doing one or the other on its own can be difficult enough. But we're seeing quite a number of mothers here in Ghana braving the odds and taking up both tasks. In a moment, we'll be hosting Felicia Twumasi, one of Ghana's leading women entrepreneurs, or mompreneurs, if you like. She's the CEO of Home Foods Processing and Cannery Limited. We'll be hearing how she's able to combine her role as a mother and running a business at the same time. But first, let's take a look at this report put together by Daryl Kwao.
Meet Felicia, Ethel, and Coco, three mothers in business. Felicia Twumasi, mother of three, always knew she wanted to be an entrepreneur right from birth.
My grandmother saw my potential. I don't know how she did it, and insisted I've been sent away from home to a boarding school. So I grew up in the convent in Elmina, and that is where I had the concept or the idea. It was a very small family, boarding student. Once a while, when school reopens, you don't get anybody coming back to school. And then you ask why the person that is not in school, they tell you the father is no more, and then the mother cannot pay the fees. That is when I swore to myself, it's not going to happen to my children. Then I started asking questions from the nuns. Why do women have to rely on men solely? And why don't they work and provide for their own children? So at that early age, I decided I'll be independent and then make sure my children don't go through this.
The Harvard-trained entrepreneur now owns a multi-million-dollar company processing and canning food items. Her flagship products, palm and vegetable oils for the local market and for export as well. Her joy, providing a means of livelihood for about 5,000 women farmers who supply her with raw materials.
What makes me tick is seeing the women having a change of lifestyle, and that gives me joy. You go to Adeso, Home Foods have changed the village to a town. But from 1995 to 2000 and let me say 10, within the 5, 7, 8 years period, we've put more than $10 million buying. So it has changed their lifestyles. That makes me wake up. The workers, they come here looking very dejected, the factory workers. After 2 months, you see them like they have dignity. I do business not for myself and my family, but to impact people.
Ethel Marfo has been married for 9 years. She has 3 kids.
This idea of having a children's salon came to me when I started having children. I am blessed with 3 daughters, and in order to keep daughters looking beautiful, you know, you have to really adorn them by doing their hair, you know. So I was having challenges going to do their hair, you know, during the weekends. I go to a regular adult salon and they treat us like we are a nuisance. You know how children behave when their hair is being done. They'll cry, they want to pee, they want to poo-poo. And so I realized that the adult salon was just not good enough for a child.
That's how the idea of opening a salon for girls came about. Before
then, I had spent 5 years at home having kids. I had my 3 daughters within 3 years. I have an interesting mothering background. I had 3 children within 3 years, and so for about 5 years I was homebound. I couldn't really work for anybody. But then I have a media and marketing background. Hitherto I'd worked with Charterhouse Ghana, so I used to do consultancy on the side.
I'm sure you told your husband about it.
Yes.
What was his reaction?
Initially, I mean, he laughed it off. He was like, seriously, you want to do a salon for children? But I'm that kind of person. If I'm convinced about something, I push and push and push till I get it.
The quest to solve a problem has turned her into a successful businesswoman. Her salon is always buzzing.
You know, it's like a school. When you come here on Saturdays, it's like a crash. Someone is crying, you have to pamper the child for a while before the child calms down, before you can continue the hairdo. And sometimes it's tough on my workers, you know, but then with time we've mastered the art of handling children, and we're able to calm them down. When you see that when you walked in, children were crying, but we've been able to keep them silent, you know. So that's the bit about the hair business with the children.
Unlike Felicia and Ethel, who have been doing this for years, Koko Aitia decided to start her own business 4 weeks ago. She's a mother of 2.
After I had my firstborn, my daughter, I gave birth to her prematurely. So I didn't start looking for a job early, and I knew I had to take care of her because she needed special attention. And then being with her at home made me realize that I could actually bake. I didn't know I could bake. I started gradually. Her first birthday, I baked a cake for her because we went to a big shop and I wanted a particular design and they couldn't give it to me. So I decided to learn how to bake. I went online, got some recipes. They weren't too good. But fortunately, my mother-in-law gave me a recipe book. And I looked into it and I got a great recipe. And her birthday cake turned out well. From that time onwards, I started practicing baking cookies, cake pops, etc.
Business has started quite well for her.
I've been serving basically my husband's friends, family friends and friends, and it's really fulfilling when you do something very creative and people really like it and they give you feedback.
So how are they able to combine their roles as mothers and entrepreneurs?
Okay. Difficult, I wouldn't lie to you, because I don't have a help. I have to do most of the things myself. A housewife, I have to do most of the things myself. It's difficult, but what can you do? The kids are important. The work is important.
So let's say you have orders. How do you go about taking care of them and taking care of your orders too?
Fortunately, this one he is a bit calm. He cries when he's hungry, like now, and sleepy. So when I feed him, I strap him to my back. And then I continue my work. My daughter goes to school. She closes at 4. When she comes back, I have to put everything on hold, as I said earlier, and take care of them till 7:30. When my husband comes, he helps as well. Then I go back to what I have to do.
Sometimes when I travel and I have to leave my kids behind, sometimes it's 2 nights, and I have no choice than to leave them with a handyman in the house. That is my greatest challenge. But now they are 13, so they can take care of themselves. So I make sure I'm always online with them. Have you locked the doors? Have you done that? That's my greatest challenge.
Initially, when I started out, I realized it was really affecting the family. But along the line, I trained staff. I delegated to staff, and so I have committed staff who are able to take charge when I'm not around. Currently, I've diversified into other things, but the salon is still running. It's still up and doing because I have dedicated staff that I delegate to.
All ladies have their eyes set on one thing: to succeed at what they do.
This is great inspiration for a lot of women who are watching the show now, and that's why we're hosting Madam Felicia Twumasi on AM Business today. She's got a very inspiring story. You want to stay tuned in. So, Madam, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
It takes a lot to wake up on a Wednesday morning and be here?
Not quite. I always wake up at 4:30.
Okay.
And get the boys ready for school. By 6:30, I'm on my way to the office. So it's nothing very special today.
It's been quite a remarkable journey for you personally. You share a bit of your story in that clip. But can you sum up your story for us?
It has been a long journey. As I said in the clip, I had the idea of starting my own business, being independent when I was around 6 years old. I went to the boarding house at 4.
At 4?
At 4, I was in the boarding house at Elmina Ula. My grandmother insisted I leave home. I don't know why. I think she saw something in me. And at the age of 4, and being alone, I was a bit independent. You know, you have to wake up in the morning, wash yourself, wash your clothes on Saturdays. And after school, you know, as I said in the story, Ola was a very small family. And we were very close. School reopens, you don't see your friend, and you question why. Father died, and mommy cannot pay the school fees, and so she can come back to school. I lost more than 4 of them, and I still remember their names. And that is when I saw to myself that it's not going to happen to my children. At Ola, I became very responsible at the age of 8. I was in charge of the warehouse, giving food to the kitchen. So at a very tender age, I was very responsible, very independent. Probably my grandmother saw me. She was telling me I look very precocious, so I can do something for myself.
So you think the early boarding school helped you?
Yes. That I always say thank you to her. She died 10 years ago, and I've even dedicated one of the products to her. She did something good for me because Ola is a place where I develop my virtues and values.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But let's talk about when you were starting your business. What were some of the factors that you considered?
You know, having this concept when I was a child was always in my memory. And after university, I think I really liked doing business. Even at the university, you know those days, some 30 years ago, when we were in the university, they used to give us allowance, which we used to call Bangla. I would use my money and buy things and sell to my mates. So I had that tendency of going to do my own business. So after university and doing my national service, I thought of going to start a business. What I told myself was, I want to be in food business. I want to do something we all use in the kitchen every day. Tomatoes, onions, and all that. And I told myself they are perishable. So I thought of going into palm oil.
Okay.
And I know in palm oil, we use it every day. Those days, there was no refinery in Ghana. So all vegetable oils were imported. So what I did to myself was to read a lot, because I had opportunity of education about palm oil. And I knew one day I'm going to add value to it. So I started this business going to see one woman at Kaneshi who I would never forget, Dada. So I started buying from her to the house, to the kitchen, and then saw the quality. And so what I did was went to the embassies, wrote to the embassies, went there personally. Those days there were no internet, it was only fax. And then went to see the trade attaches. Fortunately for me, the UK one replied, and I started corresponding with the business, I'll call him business partner.
What did you ask him? I mean, why the embassies?
What I told myself was palm oil is a common product in Ghana. You can just walk into any market and get it. So the whole strategy was to provide palm oil for Africans in diaspora, especially West Africans, because in Europe or America, you can't get red palm oil. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know that vegetable oil comes from palm oil. And so I thought of starting exports and then providing a niche product to West Africans abroad.
So at this point, you were a mother?
No.
Okay.
At that point, I wasn't a mother. I was a mother after 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. When I started my business, I wasn't a mother.
So motherhood was not a factor that you considered at that point?
As a matter of fact, I went into business because I want to provide, give good life to my children. So I did consider that one day I'll get married and have children.
There are quite a good number of women who would say it's the man's responsibility to take care of the home, take care of the children. But you were thinking about taking care of them yourself.
Yes, because of my experience in the boarding school, you know, that really opened my eyes. I just couldn't understand why women should put their children through this when their husbands die. My question to the nuns was, why do women get into marriage and then allow the men to take 100% responsibility? Because we all know what I call unknown known. We all die one day. So why don't you actually prepare towards that? You know, that is why I went into business purposely to give my children a very good life.
Wow.
Yes.
And does it satisfy you? I mean, everything that you do now, are you comfortable? Are you satisfied within you?
It's very fulfilling. As a matter of fact, the whole concept of mindset changed, and it came towards women. When I was in the university, I used to come to Accra UST, and on the way, you see women on trucks with bananas, plantains, with their babies at their back, and it makes my heart sink. I said, why? Why should women go through this? And that is when I decided that I'm going to turn all those perishable items, process, and then change their lifestyles.
Okay, let's go back to when you wrote that letter to the UK embassy and then you got a response.
Yeah. That was 1995. Interestingly, I started my business on a kitchen table in a rented house. So when I wrote the letter, and the trade attaché called, and I went and gave me the address, and I started corresponding with it. Those days, you have to go all the way to Circle to make an international call. And so it was very difficult. So we started writing and sending faxes. Fortunately, there was fax. And the first time he ordered 100 cartons of palm oil. So I went to Dada, bought a drum, and then brought it home. I went to get some bottles from the companies, these packaging companies. There was only 2 of them at that time. And then did some labels, which was not very attractive, and sent them. And I remember very well, I had one worker, and I remember very well putting them cartons and then going to the port, which was very, very, very challenging. I didn't have a car, so I remember very well standing on the motorway, the entrance. This is the entrance, yes, and then hitching for a ride. I remember getting the trotro and then went to the port. That was my first time to the port, and because there were 100 cartons, I have to go with the group container. We took another 1 month to get full before the first export got there. And it did very well. And the following 2 weeks, he ordered another 200 cartons.
Wow.
And to me in business, from where I was brought up in the convent, that's made me very spiritual. And I had a very interesting dream after 2 months that I saw containers move from my yard. And I told my worker, she started laughing. And after 3 months, it's history. Then we started doing a container per month. It went to 3, went to 4. And then we hit 45 containers a year. And
wow.
The rest is history.
So at this point, you were still buying the produce from the Kanishi market from Dada?
After the 200 cartons, that's when I realized that it's going to grow. So I talked to Dada, and Dada took me to Asamankese, where she gets her palm oil. And I said, can you supply me? Yes, she started supplying. Then all of us, we realized that, no, it was too big now. So we started with 5 women in the village. I'm still with them after 20 years. Wow. And we realized that it was growing, a container, 2 containers. Then from 5, we got to 10 women. Then we got to 500. We started growing. And that is why I sat down one day. Naturally, as you know, Mama V, women are strategists, but most of us use it in the wrong way. I sat down one day, I said, no, I have to come up with a plan because the numbers are growing. I can't handle them. And most of all, I cannot handle the quality. So when we got to 500, what I did was I came up with an idea called subset cooperative system. If you remember your maths in school, the subset. So what I did was within the 500 women, I grouped them into 5s.
Okay.
So we have 100, And then within the 5 groups, I chose 2, 1 each from each group, having 5 women, dealing with them. They collect, we check, and then they bring them down.
Okay.
We're still using drums. Then the business started flourishing. We bought a tanker. Tankers go there, so then they load and all that, and that the rest is history.
Amazing. And you have 3 other factories.
Yes, it has been a long journey, and I always tell people that the journey of discovery is not over. Palm tree is a very interesting tree, and in our language, Ashanti says, it's very deep when there's a storm. Yeah, the palm tree is the only tree that stands. It has immeasurable benefits and the uses. So we know palm oil, to use palm oil for food and all that. But palm oil, when fractionated, you get vegetable oil. And the vegetable oil, you have 2 derivatives we call FFA, or palm fatty acid, and stearin. The stearin, you can have different types to use it in different ways. You can use it for soap. You can use it for margarine.
Okay.
But with the margarine, you need a lot of investment. So we chose the soap.
Okay.
And with the stearin, you need to go through a chemical reaction before you get what we call soap noodles. It was tough because we are a very small company. Our competitors are multinational companies. So we approached some of them if they can supply us with noodles. And we came up with these soap noodles because after the refinery, we were selling the stearin to Nestle and Lever Brothers for soap. And sometimes they bluff you are at their mercy. So I came up with this idea and I said, let's go into soap. I'm not a chemist kind of person. I didn't do chemistry. So I said, let me gather myself with somebody who did chemistry. So I engaged somebody who did chemistry. And we realized that the whole processing line is around $300,000. And that time we had only $50,000. So I said, let me do the finishing line. And I have to go to China to get one of the cheapest, because when we went online, the other machines were very expensive and didn't want to borrow because it was a new venture and we can fail or succeed.
Sure.
So I said, let's put our heads in and take the risk. And interestingly, that was my first time in China. And I went to a village called Nanshan. That was one of the most interesting trips I've ever made in my life. You know, I was a giant in that village. They're very small, cute. I was very tall, I was fat, I had a big bum, and you know, I was in town and a 60-year-old man came to slap my butt. I was like, what? He wanted to know if I'm human, because someone hadn't seen a black person before. Wow. Yes, it was very interesting. When I came back, I said, guys, where I went to get these machines, we have to succeed because I have to go through all these humiliations. We started in 2014. And interesting, in Tema, we moved to Kumasi. We got a factory that had been shut down. We took it over. We started doing our chemical reaction, get our noodles, and we're doing very well.
Amazing.
And the soap is called Duma.
Duma. As in D-U?
D-U-M-A is a Swahili word meaning cheetah. And I came up with that idea that if the soap develops to that high premium soap, what we're gonna do is to do advert, and I know that in English they say you can't change the spot of a leopard. Can you? You can't.
No way.
No way. So we chose the Dubai. We're saying that we will have the advert with a cheetah galloping, running fast with all the sports, right?
So hang on. So you thought about a commercial for a product that you were not ready to commercialize in that sense.
Yes.
But that's the dream.
That's the dream.
Wow.
I'm a dreamer, and I think one of my strengths is I focus a lot and I'm very determined. So they asked, why are you choosing Duma? And I said, this is the meaning. I had a privilege of going to Kenya to do business, and then I took the opportunity to go to the Maasai.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Maasai. And that's where I got the idea. It's the only predator that hunts in the morning, and it's fantastic. I saw this coming, and now I was telling myself this is the name for the soap, so that when you use it, you see the cheetah coming fast. It's the fastest amongst the lions. The cat family, they are the fastest. So you see the cheetah running, and then when you use the Duma soap, say, who says you can't change the spot of a cheetah? So when you work, then the cheetah become white. That's how you came up with the idea of the Duma.
You would not need an advertiser because you're a master.
So I came, of course I will need them so that I can give them my ideas. So we did that, it's running. And then we realized that our competitors are all multinationals. They have their muscle. So the vegetable oil and palm oil business is very commoditized. Prices change like nobody's business. So what I did was let us expand our product lines. And I've realized that a lot of career women like you, that you need to eat but convenient food. So we did a survey and realized that a lot of our foods are not on the market, especially Europe and America. So I came up with this idea, and fortunately for us, there was this West African Trade Hub at that time. And so we went to see them, and then Whole Foods US came to see us. In my kitchen, we started developing jollof, wache, fried rice, all the Ghanaian product, so that you can just take it from the shelf and warm it. And we came up with the idea, we came up with a recipe. It has taken us 5 years, and we are about starting production. And that is our Food Research Institute. They've given us a whole building, and that is the 3rd factory.
So you have jollof,
wache, fried rice.
In the supermarkets, you just...
It will be on the supermarket.
Wow.
Because what I thought was, you see, there's this advent of modern trade in Africa now. In Ghana, look at ShopRite, we have 5 of them in Accra, Marina Mall, days. People like you shop there, you know, and so we are prepared for you. And then the 4th one is grains and legumes and snacks. To us, you go to the market. I deal with a lot of women and market people. You buy beans and you have to come and clean and stone them yourself and all that. So we came in the idea that we have another plant. We buy them from the north or from the women, the same cooperative system. We pass it through the stoner, we polish it, we pack.
Okay.
1 kilo, 2 kilos for these shops. Corn, we process, formulate it, and then sell, add vitamins and all that. Snacks, we're coming out with peanuts, and then flavored ones, honey. There's a lot of honey in the country. So that is what we do, yes. So we have the 4 factories running now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very, very inspiring. But where is motherhood in everything that you do? How do you combine being CEO and being a mother?
It's quite difficult, but I think when you are determined to do something, I always tell my children that one thing that we have as human, nobody can take from us, is our brain and the way you think. You know, you can tell your child not to do this. If he doesn't want to do it and he does it, you know, he has his own brain. I mean, he can refuse not to do it in here. Yeah. So it's all determination and planning. As I said, I wake up at 4:30 every day, except weekends when I wake up at 6 and go for a walk. I'm a very disciplined woman, very firm. A lot of people find me very difficult because culturally, we are not used to telling people what it is.
Yeah.
And so...
Do you think people would describe you as a strict person?
They do. They say I'm strict. I'm not nice. I don't mince my words. So I tell them that if you're supposed to do this and you don't do, why should I pamper you and correct you? You're supposed to put an A here, you put a B. Why don't you correct it before I come? So they see me, some of them see me not nice. And
does it bother you?
No, not at all. That is me, not at all. Fortunately for me, natural, I'm not a hypocrite. I don't have a double life. This is what you see and that is me. And so my boys tell me, why do you leave your phones around? I say, you can take it. There's nothing on. My email, you can go in. Sometimes when I'm somewhere and there's a problem, I tell my secretary, go, I don't have a double. That is me. So they find me very difficult.
You know, some women, when they're making babies, they take some time off. So you see some people would leave the job and concentrate on raising their children for a while before they start looking for a job or decide to do something for themselves. Did you ever, at any point, think about giving up, or let me just pause for a while, let me pause the business, let me concentrate on family?
Never. I've never entertained that. Probably, I think I have one of my mistakes is sometimes I think I'm too strong, and sometimes when I come back home and reflect, it's only when I come home that I reflect and realize, what did I do? You know, it has never occurred to me. Fortunately for me, when I had my first child, she's a big girl. She's 35.
Oh.
And she has to go through the brunt of my business life because we went through a lot. I was a young lady trying to put up a business. I had a big dream because my vision was to build and establish a huge food processing company, fusing flavors and spices around the world. That was my aim. And then my mission was to focus attention on creativity of food ingredients. To make food an experience for women, you know. My whole mission was women. And so it was quite difficult, but fortunately for mommy was around at that time.
Oh.
So sometimes she comes down when I'm traveling. And my business is international, and I travel like crazy. Sometimes it's only this year that I have not traveled. And I always tell friends
this year is still very early.
Yeah, I always tell friends that if you see me in Ghana for 1 month or 2 weeks, that means I'm getting rich.
Yeah.
Because you got to travel and make connections and bring business and all that. And so it wasn't very difficult because mommy was there. I'll call mommy will come. Mommy really understood my mission and she really helped. Beginning, she was very disappointed, but after university, you are selling palm oil. You know, she didn't understand till later that she realized that palm oil can be turned into a business.
Yeah. You know, there are a lot of women who would conveniently open a small store. Some would sell either diapers or wipes alongside sometimes the 8 to 5 work. But taking a risk to say I'm leaving and concentrating on this and expanding, usually that thought does not come easy. Why do you think some women are just operating the small business and not making it bigger?
To me, it's very relative. Women, especially in Ghana, our culture, you go to school, you are born, you go to school, you finish, the next thing is to get married and have kids. And a lot of women think it's a destination. So it's relative. To me, children shouldn't be a destination. Marriage shouldn't be a destination. They just relax and know that they have somebody to look up to. I think those who even sell these diapers, in front of their houses, trying to do something. Because I think that one of the most difficult business you can ever get into to be a housewife. You get very bored. You actually don't know the value of life. To me, that's how I see. Because when I meet some of my friends now and they talk, I get bored. So I don't have friends. I have acquaintances. They talk about makeup and wigs, and I get so bored because. So I have a friend in Nigeria that we were in Harvard together, Bumi, and she flies down when there's a problem. I fly down when I'm very heavy because we talk figures, what we have to do. So with the other women, it all depends on how you see life and how relaxed you want to be in life. Because some of us, to me, I'm very ambitious. And I think sometimes it's not even good, but I'm very ambitious. And I think I can do whatever a man can do. So.
You mentioned a little Harvard in there.
Yeah.
You went to Harvard?
Yeah, I was in Harvard Business School. Yeah.
Okay. People mention Harvard. If you're doing law, they say, well,
no.
Get a taste of it.
I was in a business school executive program, even with your boss. He was my mate.
Okay.
He was my mate at that
What
time.
difference does Harvard make?
It makes tremendous difference. I went for the first 2 years and then deferred for the last year, the third year. It's 3 years. because Daddy was not very well, and I knew that when I go, the inevitable will happen. I have to calm down. And he was staying with me. He was very old at that time. And when we went the first, myself and Bumi were the only African women there. And I think my turnover at that time was the smallest. And when they are given admission, they give privilege to, they call it a minor group like us.
Okay.
And at that time, it was above a little million, and it was somebody's budget in class. So it really pushes you, and you get a wide network. You know, my first time going to Malaysia to get into vegetable oil myself, to grow it big. I have a mate there. I called him, boy. I said, I want to come. He said, Felicia, come. I'll make sure I have an office for you and all that. And so after the first year, you know, we do strategies, we do innovation, we do negotiations, and it really spurs you on. So the second year, we move up, and that is where I had a belief that I can do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't understand why somebody in my class, I remember, did an IPO. They called him from India, that this is how it got $1 billion. So we have to pop a champagne. I just sat down and said, no. No.
My story must change.
My story must change. Because this guy, very quiet, Apuf is a very quiet person. And you know, here, when you do business, it's you. You know, you want to let it go. Because after merging all these four, we're going to go on the stock exchange. We want to grow. The whole idea is to grow like Nestle. We want to leave a sustainable legacy. You know, like other, because we are all business owners in class, and some of them get up and tell you, oh, the 50 billion fund, wow, you know. And it's like Bumi, for one, was at that time doing 30 million.
Wow.
Yes. So that spurred me on. It made a lot of difference. It opened so many avenues. I could talk. Even now, I call, and we meet every year. We have every 2 years, alumni, where we do presentations, and people come, those who have succeeded, those who have sold their business, why they sold their business. And you have some business affiliates in class who are doing venture capital. So, you know, it helps a lot.
Okay.
It helps a lot.
But down in Ghana, do you see that women have equal opportunities just as the men?
I think so. I think the women limit themselves. I think so, because in business, me being in business as an entrepreneur, I have never had any problem going to an office and they look down because I'm a woman. You know, some of the men think you are too ambitious, and some of them get very interested that you are into that. You know, you are a successful person and all that, and you are very ambitious, you want to do something for the country. So I don't think so. I don't think so. It's the way we are brought up, the way we women see ourselves, the way women limit ourselves. You know, to me, they think what man, you know, this is a CEO, you cannot get there, he's a man. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, especially in this country where women are not restricted like the Muslim countries and all that. So I don't think so. It's a woman.
You work with a lot of women.
I do work with a lot of women.
Do you feel that they are inspired by your story? Are they taking advantage?
They do. We meet every quarter, and you'll be surprised. They are very experienced, and to them, we have a slogan, to be rich is glorious. It's not the money, but the dignity that they have now. They can send their children to school. They can have good food. They have ready market. It has really improved their lives. I even have some of their kids coming to as interns in the company every summer.
Okay.
So I think 8 years ago was the first time somebody sent their children to university there among the women.
Wow.
And they can pay their fees and all that. So they are really inspired by us, and they always help too.
In wrapping up our conversation, I'm interested in the future plans that you have for your 4 factories.
Yes, there's a big plan. We have done a transformation plan for the next 15 years, starting from 2016. Probably at that time I'll be very old, but I would love to see it. I would love to see that growth. So what we've done is we've translated the transformation plan, which was done by me, very ambitious, into a business plan, into 3 years, every 3 years, what we can achieve till we get to the 15 years.
Okay.
The next 5 years, we have a 5-acre land that we bought at Tema in 2001. It was tough. I remember going to Ghana Free Zone Board and they wouldn't give it to a woman. I said, why do you need 5 acres? And so they gave me ultimatums. I have to come and pawn my trinkets and sold a lot of things and went and paid some of the money and I got the documents. We had a 5-acre land there, and then the 5-acre land we're going to build. We've done our plan, we've done our architectural drawing. We're just waiting for money because we cannot afford to take money from the Ghanaian banks, otherwise we go bankrupt. So we building, it's going to take us 18 months, and then we move everything there except the soap.
Okay.
Yes, so the project is expansion, modernization, and diversification, but all in food. And to us, it's going to be a corridor for all the farmers, professionals, trying to grow into the corporate structure and then leave a sustainable legacy and food security for the nation.
Amazing plan. Yeah. May God help you.
Thank you.
But I also just, heard that there's a certain award in Lagos, Nigeria. You're going to be awarded?
Yes, so that was a big surprise. That was last week when a courier brought a courier to us, and I opened it and I said, what is this? So, these things you have to be very careful. So I check online and all that, because to me it wasn't a pleasant surprise, because like, where do they know me? It's African Leadership Brand Merit.
Okay.
So they've recognized our brands because we sell a lot in Equatorial Guinea, Cape Verde, Senegal. So probably that's where they saw it, and we are the winners. So I'm going on the 18th and then receive it on the 19th.
Congratulations to you. We will tell the story of you receiving the award when it happens.
Is that so?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
We will. You are such an inspiring person, and I think that your story is great. I've got lots of messages on WhatsApp, but because of time, I can't read all. So let me read this one from Sule from Bolga, who says, Madam Felicia Twumasi's story is quite interesting. More grease to her elbows. Thank you, Sule, and all of you who have been sending messages. Okay, Mami Efwa, if I don't read, you cut my head off, so let me read. Mami Efwa says, wow, Mama V, Auntie Felicia is a real woman of substance. Are you cool to her? We'll come and see her for gists. She's put all the gists on the show today. So there you have it, CEO of Home Foods Processing and Cannery Limited, Madam Felicia Twumasi. I am grateful that you could make time to be here on our show.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. This is my first time coming to the studio.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
We thank God that you could make it.
Thank
we really
so
appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you.
That's it for AM Business, brought to you by EcoBank. Stay with us. We've got a big conversation also coming up with the Most Reverend Emmanuel Asante. He is chairman of the Peace Council. All the questions that you want to ask. What does the Peace Council do? More answers in the next conversation here on the AM show. Please do stay with us.